there are people who get so lost in just trying to get the money in, get through the day, keep their business going, that at one point they're going to find themselves alone. And that's not a good place to be when you get so busy that you can't value that time with meeting other people, and it's really important.
The goal isn't to live forever. The goal is to create something that will.
Welcome to Perspective, the podcast for wedding creatives, where we sit down, often with a special guest, and talk about our many years of experience in the wedding industry. We've got Heather Masterton on today's episode, and we're going to be talking to her about community. Not just having a community being of benefit to yourself and your own well-being, but also having a community to help sustain your business and to make it flourish. This episode is going to be really interesting for all you single creatives out there who are shooting by themselves and really struggling with the hardships of being alone in this industry, because it can be really hard. We're going to be talking to Heather about her backstory, how she created Braw Brides, as well as why she focuses on the wedding industry. Today's episode is, of course, sponsored by With Jack, but I will get onto that a little bit later in the show. In the meantime, Greg, what are we drinking?
We are drinking some coffee from the Barn Coffee Roasters in Berlin.
That's right. Is this the same one as last week?
It's not. This one's the filter roast. It's a Bokam AA from Kenya.
Okay.
I'm going to assume
Easy
that's a
for you to say.
silent M on Mbokam. I don't know.
Mbokam. Yeah, maybe. Hello, Heather.
Hello.
Can I offer you some coffee?
Absolutely. Now, I am not a coffee connoisseur, has to be said. So
Are you a coffee drinker, though?
I am a coffee drinker, and I have now visited Toro Coffee twice.
Oh.
And Ross is doing well at the education, so
He is.
I'm getting there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a flight, and honestly, I don't know how people do hard drugs, because that come down was
Those flights are something else.
that was brutal.
Yeah. I had a big glass of this on the KMX one day, then went there, had a flight. So that's another 3
Oh my
coffee
God.
drinks with like double espressos in them.
Thank you
And
so much.
I was shaking.
Yes. But you're right. Those flights are pretty lethal.
Now, he told me that you guys sometimes get a taxi over there
No, we did once.
just to get coffee and come back.
The most expensive coffee.
That is really...
There was one time we got a taxi over there. It was an Uber, and it was fairly cheap, wasn't too bad. And then went to call an Uber to go home, like back here, and it was like a 3 times surcharge, and it was like crazy price, and we were like, no, we're not doing that.
So that coffee
Especially-
cost you a good...
Fair bit.
Yeah.
Especially when there's a train station right next door that we could have used. Yeah,
Well, that would have cost a lot in time.
exactly.
So,
True. And time is money.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I know that's what you were getting at. I just thought,
So, how's your weekend been? What you been up to?
oh, well, weekends for me is probably quite different to the people you usually have on, because I don't actively shoot weddings. So weekends for me are essentially family time. That's the only time when all 4 of us are together, and we do very mundane things like taking the kids swimming, and I actually went for lunch in Edinburgh, so it was very nice
Nice.
with my
Ooh.
friends. So
Anywhere
and the day of the rugby. But
no. Was it busy?
Wise.
it was so busy,
Yeah.
but it was actually it was a good atmosphere. It was really
Yeah.
good. So yeah, it was a lovely day. Went for lunch. But yeah, quite mundane at the weekends. I'm not running all over the country shooting weddings. I just sit at my desk and look at them.
Aye. And was this like a big family lunch? Was it
No,
the kids
no.
and stuff, or?
I've got a friend who's just about due her baby, so this was like her last outing
Forever.
before her life changes forever.
Yeah.
You'll never go out again.
Yeah. So you took her somewhere fancy, I hope.
We went to Refinery in St Andrew's Square, which I've never been to before, and it was, I couldn't have picked. I had avocado on sourdough with halloumi fries, so I couldn't have been more hipster.
Oh, that is pretty next level hipster right there.
I was a hipster hit. No, that was lovely. What are either of you from Edinburgh? No.
No, I went
that's
to
fine.
I went to boarding school in Edinburgh, and my uncle still lives there, just below the castle. He lives right on the top flat, so his
Wow.
flat's got a double level, and he can get access to the roof. and he's
Wow.
right in front of the castle. So like New Year's, I think I'm going to go to his for New Year's next year
Yeah,
because it's unreal.
that is some
Crazy.
serious property in Edinburgh.
Yeah,
Are you close to him? Are you going to inherit that property?
I'm not. He's got kids,
Oh.
but it's fine. He actually he is actually a photographer as well. All the kind of camera gear kind of got passed down through his father, who's now passed away. But then he does work for himself, but under Edinburgh Lights. If anyone's listening and wants to see Edinburgh in folks.
So what school did you go to in Edinburgh, boarding school?
I went to Merchiston Castle.
Oh, very nice.
Mhm.
Lovely.
It is a fancy school.
And is boarding school very much like in the books?
Harry Potter,
like
yes. It's,
Mallory Towers. I'm thinking more Mallory Towers. That's a bit before.
what is Mallory Towers? I've never heard of this.
It's a book about a girls' boarding school, but it's
Uh-huh.
probably, oh God, I don't know when it would have been written, but I used to read it when I was a kid. I mean, clearly it's not like Harry Potter because you're not going about in robes and wands, but it looks
No, it's
like
full on Harry. It's full on Harry Potter. No.
So Maui Girl's just getting into Harry Potter. She's
Oh,
4
wow.
and she's watched the first 7 films. And I'm
Wow.
like, I keep trying to say I'm going to tell her they're finished because they're getting too scary.
Yeah.
But she's fully into it, and I'm like,
Keep going.
so she watched it. Like she watched the 7th one. Dobby died and was buried, and she's like, when are they going to fix Dobby? I need to watch the next one. And I'm like, Dobby ain't fixable, pal.
Oh.
He's not come back.
Poor Dobster. Poor Dobster.
But we'd just recently been at the studio tour. Me and my husband, we went down to the Harry Potter studio tour. Have you ever done it?
No, but I really want to.
So I didn't think I was a Harry Potter geek, and then I went to that, and it is something else.
Yeah.
It is so worth doing. Yeah, it was amazing. Now I feel bad I didn't take my kid. She's into it now.
Well,
There's too young to
there's
I think
exactly.
so. Yeah. You can go back because they keep adding stuff. They're always adding
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
it was amazing.
It does look
So
pretty
good.
cool. One of our couples last year, well into their Harry Potter, and they went to the States and went to the Harry Potter world, and we were following their Instagram like wellies.
Yeah. so
But they were
good.
right into it. And
Right.
I feel like you just have to be. You have to be that
Totally.
next level into your Harry Potter. Go and you'll have the best time ever.
Yeah, so like I feel for Harry Potter, when Harry Potter was finished, it was finished. But a lot of people are into all the spin-offs, Fantastic Beasts, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, nah, I'm
Yeah.
done. Like Harry Potter's done for me. But then Fantastic Beasts was on the other night, and I was like, oh, I quite like this.
I've only
So-
seen
It
the
is very
first
good.
Fantastic Beasts, but it's a pretty good film.
It is.
Yeah,
For not like I'm not a big fan of that sort of world, but it was a good film. I enjoyed it.
it doesn't sit well with me because it's set in America, and I feel like the wizarding world is quintessentially British. You know, Harry Potter is a
Yeah.
British, but I was actually enjoying it, so I probably will branch out.
Yeah.
Yes. And I know what you mean. There is a magic element to this country in particular that just aids well to the novels of Harry Potter. So,
Yeah.
I get it.
Because there's only going to be a Hogwarts or a boarding school like you attended in Britain, right? There's not schools like that.
Well,
in
when they
America.
played Quidditch, there was schools from all over the world. So let's,
And did you play schools from all over the world when you were at boarding school? What sport did you do?
it was rugby. All over the world, very rarely, mostly Scottish and English schools.
And were you any good?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't very good, to be honest. Although I don't really look back with fond memories of school. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. I just felt like I wasn't a part of it. I always wanted to go and escape at the weekends and go back to my friends in the borders and playing bands and that sort of thing. So I always felt like I wanted to escape and be the angsty rebel that I was kind of.
I like what
that's the
you're
kind of teenage
saying
role.
there.
But
I like that because someone asked me the other day, what was your experience at school? And I was like, well, it was fine. But I don't look back on it as like the best days of my life. And I kind of guess I had to be there. But it's good to pass that message on of like, it's not the be all and end all, isn't it?
yeah, but don't get me wrong. The education that they gave me was like because I had learning difficulties. So going to that kind of school where there is that structure was really beneficial to me.
Extra
So I do
support,
appreciate my time there. Anyway, let's stop talking about Hogwarts and schools.
Yeah. Well, at this time of year, we're not out much either. So we had a weekend off.
Nice.
I actually just had a lazy weekend. I didn't do much on Saturday. Sunday, I wasn't feeling too great. I felt like I was getting a cold, real chill. So I just had a lazy Sunday. Sat and did some admin work. And yeah, it was pretty boring.
I had a pretty relaxed weekend. Like, I have 3 kids. And
3 kids.
3 kids. Not easy going, but Gran took them Saturday.
Nice.
So Lindsay and I had a nice dinner on the
that's
Saturday.
lovely.
And then Sunday morning, we were out to Single End?
Mhm.
Is that how you say it? Single End? Anyway, for a nice wee brunch. And that was
That's
really
lovely.
nice. But we had a really funny conversation. And I don't really know how we got into this. But we were talking about our favourite Scottish words or sayings.
Okay.
And I thought, this is really funny because we've got Heather on the podcast and she's from Braw Brides. Braw is quite a Scottish term.
It is, yeah.
And but we just had a really good conversation about some of our favourite phrases.
And
one
what
of your
came up?
favourites?
Had your reached?
Yes.
Which I feel is a good classic. Didn't he ken?
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, from the Borders.
This
That's
section is going to be very strange for some of our listeners.
it is. Probably my one of my favourite words is a tatty bogle.
Right. That's not one. Yeah, that's
Do
not
you know
one
what a
I
tatty
use
bogle
very
is?
much, no.
It's not one that I would use.
It's a scarecrow. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't use that because
Yeah.
you are a city slicker. There's
No.
not many tatty bogles going about.
That is true.
There's a few down in Ayrshire. We've got some good Ayrshire tatties.
But it's not in your daily life. Did
You
you grow
don't-
up on a farm?
No.
I feel like when you said tatties, it was the most foreign thing you had ever said. But yeah, do you have any good Scottish phrases or?
Yes.
Putting you
my
on the
mum is
spot.
the queen of a Scottish phrase. They're not so much slang, but like my mum would say a lot of things like God and Govan or swinging for the lights, shouting Tarzan. You ever heard that one?
No, no.
I think that's kind of like, so if I said to my mum, can you get me XYZ? And she'd say, what do you think I'm doing? Swinging for the lights, shouting Tarzan? Like, do you think I've got nothing better to do?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. She'd also say things like, you're acting the pig in the butcher's shop.
Oh, aye.
Things like that. But my friend Mary, she runs Bonnie Bling, the jewellery company, and she makes laser cut jewellery, and it's all Scottish phrases.
Oh yeah.
So she's got all your Gaelic, a necklace with any Scottish
Yeah.
phrase you can think of. You can get that on a necklace or a hat or a ring or whatever you
Cool.
want. So I think there's a place for Scottish phrases, definitely.
Yeah. I actually, I've been listening to an artist called Julie Fowlis. I don't know if you've heard her. She was the artist who did some of the Brave soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, she has released several albums, and pretty much her thing is to sing in Gaelic. Sorry, Gaelic's the Irish one. Gaelic. So I've been kind of interested in this language, and I've never really been interested in languages, so it was kind of foreign to me. But I quite like it, so I'm trying to learn Gaelic. I am.
Bad joke.
What?
Learning a new language was foreign to you.
Oh my. Well, it's our heritage is Gaelic, really. So it shouldn't be foreign. But yeah.
Well, I've got a strong opinion in Gaelic, but I'm not going to.
Oh, go on. Go on. Say it.
If you're going
If
to
it's really
learn
bad,
a
I'll-
language, right?
Yeah.
You're going to learn a language. And no disrespect to Gaelic. I think it's a great language. But how many people in the world are speaking Gaelic?
True.
Where is that going to get you when
That
you
is-
travel to China? You learn some Mandarin. You're doing well.
To be fair, if you're gonna travel anywhere, you learn English. So I feel
exactly.
like I feel,
English, Spanish.
and I
you
don't mean
know.
that to be arrogant or rude, but I think most people around the world speak English as the generic language.
No, that's absolutely right.
But I would say that maybe learning Gaelic. Sorry, I keep saying Gaelic. Learning Gaelic is more about appreciating your heritage than rather,
That's a good point.
expressing yourself, because it is a beautiful language. So yeah, I just think, because it is funny. I'm saying phrases and I'm like, I can't really speak this to anyone. So I'm coming in and I'm
bless
going,
you.
I'm saying phrases to Greg and he's like, all right, cool.
I just put
Hi.
on sound isolating headphones and ignore them. Sorry, did you speak there? No.
What language would you learn, Greg, if you were learning a language?
I would like to be better at Italian. I can speak
That's
like
nice.
very, very basic Italian. Like probably a 2 or 3 year old in Italy. No, a 2-year-old.
A 2-year-old, very much so.
I
can't speak any Italian, so I'll just go with whatever he's saying.
Have you shot a wedding in Italy?
A few times. Yeah.
So that's where the bad Italian comes out usually.
Yeah. But no, that's actually a really nice point you made about learning about your heritage. So I will now not be so.
I get it though. It's not very useful. But I might just hang up in Finiston Street because there's the Gaelic school right there. So when kids leave, I'll just be like, oh.
Don't do that. It's not going to look good.
You're right.
Talking about Scottish words, as Simon said, you run Braw Brides.
That's right.
How did that name come about?
Wow, that's a question. I have no idea. I love a bit of alliteration. It's got to be said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember coming up with it, and I remember asking loads of people and everyone telling me it was terrible. I remember vividly my brother being like, what? I really couldn't tell you. I think it's just that alliteration. It was just, that's the sort of thing, it kind of rolls off the tongue for me. And that's what puts me off ever changing it.
I think that's good though. Lots of people were saying, no, don't use it. It's good because then you've divided people, you've made people think about it.
This is it. I know. And I think essentially it does do, it says what it is.
Yes, it does.
We feature a lot of Braw Brides, so what more can you ask for?
For folk listening that don't know what it is and they've not checked it out yet, tell us a bit more about it. What is Braw Brides?
So Braw Brides is a Scottish wedding blog which features real Scottish weddings, and that is how it started in 2013. Essentially I was just sharing a lot of my pals' weddings and thinking this was just a sort of a hobby, and I loved looking at everyone's photos, and I was generally just a bit nosy. But it really quickly evolved into a Scottish wedding directory, and it began just 3 of us around the table talking about, wouldn't it be great if we could come up, bring together a group of wedding creatives in one place. And fundamentally the website is a wedding blog and a wedding directory, but behind it is a lot more than that. And a few years ago we started running our wedding workshops twice a year, and they are essentially the polar opposite of your big overwhelming wedding fair.
Right.
So the wedding workshop is an interactive day of workshopping your wedding.
Cool.
So it's evolved quite quickly in the last 6 years to now being mostly about the events and the network of Scottish businesses that we've built. Obviously the blog is always going to be there, and it provides a real, what I think is a great source of inspiration for people planning Scottish weddings who truly want to get married in Scotland because they love it. But the whole network of people that we now work with has come along organically, and it's really the crux of the business now.
Yeah. How many suppliers do you have when you're...
There's 60 at the moment.
Okay, cool.
So there's obviously 60 listing on the site. So you go into the website, you've got the directory, and you can go into photography, filmmaking, floristry, beauty, and you'll find them listed. We also meet up once a month face to face because that is my thing.
Yeah.
You can talk to somebody, till you're blue in the face online, but it doesn't compare to talking to each other face to face. So we meet up once a month, and we have a private Facebook group where we talk through all our maybe everyday issues that people might have when it comes to weddings. So,
and you said you started 6 years ago.
Yes.
What was your background before starting Braw Brides?
So I'm a graphic designer. I studied at Duncan & Jordanson, Dundee, and I left there with a pretty rubbish job, as we all do when we leave our degree and think we're going to move to London and earn 50 and 60 grand, and then you end up working in a print studio in Glasgow that does photocopying for people who walk off the street. But I did that for about 7 years at 2 different companies, And then I went on to be an events coordinator in a hotel. So all that kind of lent itself well. I had a creative background, but also had a bit of event coordination. So I went to uni with Gail from Walnut Wasp. So she shot my wedding. She was my wedding photographer in 2012. So we've always had a sort of relationship when it comes to weddings. And then she met David. So it was me, Gail and David sat at a table in an Italian coffee shop talking about what if we could come up with this group of suppliers. I hope they don't mind me mentioning them.
I'm sure they'd be fine.
So we've had quite a long-standing relationship from the get-go, and they've been a great support in terms of Braw Brides, and they now work on all my marketing and my brand, which is amazing.
Yes.
Even though I'm a graphic designer myself, and I think when we first started, I did do my own design, and then we were looking at rebranding, and I was trying to do it myself and trying to do it myself and trying to do it myself, and I just couldn't do it. And Gail was like, "No."
It's good to get some outside eyes on it and outside thoughts.
Totally.
And they just basically took it upon themselves and came along and were like, "This is what you should do," and I've never looked back. So
they were just like, "Step aside, Heather. You've got this."
absolutely. And I think it was a good learning curve, because when you're self-employed, and as much as like that was just at that time, I was still working in the hotel, and it was a bit of a side business, and I didn't have my kids and blah blah blah, and it wasn't really making any money actually, but it was a good lesson, and you can't do everything. So let it go, let someone else take to do with certain things, and it left more time for me to think about where the business should go. So
I feel like it's always good to take what you've created and just have other people's opinions and thoughts to refine what your original idea or concept was. I always feel like that kind of group thought is really productive. What made you get into the wedding industry? I mean, was it just the fact that you got married, and then, as the same with us, I got married, and then our eyes were kind of open to the possibilities, or?
Yeah, absolutely. It was just genuinely getting married. I got married at Loch Lomond. I got married at Butterick Castle in 2012. See, looking back now at my own wedding, I'd be rejecting that all over. No offence to Gail, I know you shot it, right? But, and things have just evolved so much in the Scottish wedding industry so fast, and there's just always something new. So it was just getting married myself and dealing with suppliers and realising that, it was a big deal to plan a wedding, but it also it's not the be all and end all. It's actually it's the beginning of your life, isn't it? As opposed to like, I've just got to get this day perfect. And just the relationships I kind of came across. I really liked the space of the Scottish wedding industry. I think it's a nice place to be. People are generally quite happy, and Scotland has so much to offer. So that's pretty much the reason. And now people say to me, "So now you've got kids, are you going to start Braw babies?" And I'm like, no. And I think there is a big a gulf. Sounds like a negative word, but there is a gulf between self-employed people who don't have children, self-employed people who do, right? So I'll be on my Instagram, and on 1st of January, everyone's got their bullet journals out, and they're like, in 2019, and I'm going to spend so long designing this page and about how I'm going to save my money this year and what goals I'm going to hit this year. And I'm like, it's 1st of January. The 1st of January. I didn't even know what day it was the day. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's just two completely separate worlds, isn't it? And it's hard to explain if you've not walked in each other's shoes. And it's not a bad thing, because everyone obviously needs to go on different journeys and stuff like that. But at one point, I did find it isolating in terms of like, I'm not really sure how to work my business around my family. And obviously being part of Braw Brides and having 60 other people who have all completely different circumstances is absolutely amazing, because they've all either they've maybe been there, they've done it, or they're in it exactly the same stage as you, or they've not done it yet. So everyone's got a different perspective.
Yes, unbelievable.
For me, that is like so valuable.
Yeah.
Just for me myself.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
never mind everyone else.
I mean, that kind of segues quite nicely into the main topic of conversation here, which was like community.
Yeah.
But before we touch on that, have you seen any bad habits in terms of like anyone starting a business that they might have that they probably should avoid doing?
Yes.
Just for their own health, for the health of their business, for the health of the people around them.
Yes. Sharing absolutely everything they ever do on social media. You don't need to. Like, quality over quantity every time for me. And don't get me wrong, I have learned this. I've been there, I've done it, and I now understand that you don't have to be documenting your every move on social media if you don't want to.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it works for other people. But for me, I want to curate my social media to put off a certain vibe. So I think when you're starting, especially when you're starting a business, you're just desperate to get your name out there. You're desperate to get every piece of work you do out there. You're desperate to show everyone that you're busy. You know, you wanted, and you're desperate to get business, of course. So you're kind of scrabbling at every piece of content you can. And I don't think it's necessary. Absolutely not. I think there's space for just putting out your very best work and the type of work you want to get. So that's the main thing for me. And to be honest, they're the types of businesses I stop following in social media because I'm like, I've seen, you know, I'm fed up seeing it. So that's something for me. Yeah.
I suppose when you get like, if everyone's just showing stuff, eventually it will start to be repetitive.
Absolutely.
And that can be off-putting for some people because
it depends. Like, obviously, I follow a lot of wedding businesses, so I see a lot of the same stuff over and over. Not the same, but you know, the same types of content. So it's got to really stand out for me. And, you know, I'm fielding emails constantly from different Scottish businesses, and sometimes you get to the point where how do you differentiate between everyone? And I think you should just start off on the way you mean to go on. Start off on that foot of I'm only going to share what is truly value. Yeah.
I suppose the idea is, you know, people who have Instagram accounts and businesses, they hear the kind of general rules to follow. And that's why you post twice a day. You do these things for the algorithm and stuff.
I struggle posting once a day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, you know, I think most people do. So they do just end up putting whatever they want on. And I think if you're wanting to do that, stories is kind of good for that. Like,
because they disappear.
If people want to. Because they disappear.
So if you don't like it, you're like, it's okay, it's good.
That's right. And people can skip really easily.
Right. I think
everyone can relate to that as well, by the way.
Yeah.
Over posting. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, as you say, you struggle to post once a day, right? So do I. Yeah. But I run a wedding blog, which is all, the main thing is it's social media, and I still struggle to post once a day. That's not great.
It's like, I feel like we've got enough content that could post stuff every day, but it's the coming up with captions and what to say. It's like, this it's another picture of an awesome couple in a cool location. We enjoyed working with them. What else can I say? I don't know. Yeah,
absolutely. I think and then you spend all that time sort of overthinking it, and you're essentially wasting time. It doesn't, that sounds a bit mean, but you know, there's so many other things you could be doing with your life.
Other things like getting out there and meeting up with friends and industry peers.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So like I work a Tuesday and a Wednesday and a Friday if I get the childcare. And my youngest is still, he's not at nursery yet, so he's still predominantly with me. So on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, that is when I fit in everything.
Yeah.
So today, for example, this is quite a stressy day for me because I'm here and then I'm at St Luke's at 12 o'clock to talk about an event, and then I am home to field all my emails, and then I have to pick up my wee girl at her dancing class at 4:45. So I've got to fit out. Tomorrow's okay. Tomorrow's like, so I'm very much a fan of like only put like one thing in a day.
Yeah.
So today's a bad example because I've put 2 meetings in one day. Thanks, Greg. And that I was a stress cadet this morning. I genuinely was, because my husband travels, so he's away all the working week. So I'm like that, trying to get the kids out the house to the nursery. My oldest is at nursery. get my youngest to my dad's, get over here, buy the cannolis, get over here, put the money in the park and get up here. And I was a nervous wreck. But as soon as I came in, like, I'm just like, oh, you guys have put me so at ease. And I'm going to go home and I'm going to think that was so valuable. Even though I thought to myself, God, if I go to Cinnamate and then to St. Luke's, I'm going to miss out on like replying to 50 emails.
Yeah.
But I find this much more valuable for my mental health.
With Jack was designed from the ground up and is tailored specifically for creatives. Whether you provide a service like design, development or photography or offer advice to clients, With Jack is for you. It's focused on creatives. Insurance shouldn't be complicated, so With Jack has made every step easy. You'll deal with one form and talk to one Jack as you sign up, get covered and move on with your day. With Jack is all about bespoke insurance for creatives. Simple. That doesn't mean more forms or faff, it means less. It's not about endless features and stale service. It's about one solid policy and the personal touch. Bye bye unnecessary fuss. Hello creative friendly insurance. Be a confident creative. Was it last year? Last year we went to For Love's Sake, which is a video workshop. And I did a short talk about being creative but mainly the kind of idea of work-life balance and being kind of happy with that. Mm-hmm. Do you think being a part of a community can help with that work-life balance? Because obviously we've talked about it a little bit so far, hectic life and, going out and doing a business. Like, it's hard to join those together efficiently. Being in a community, does that help with that?
I cannot tell you, I could cry right now for that question because I could not be more passionate about it. For me, especially so, I left my full-time work to have my kids and was predominantly going to bring up my kids, realised I needed something else as I was keeping working on Braw Brides. I genuinely cannot tell you, some of my best friends are in Braw Brides and they've came upon me through Braw Brides. So Carol Ann from Harper Scott, she's got 3 kids. We see each other very often. We speak every single day pretty much about just life in general. So that for me is massive. Kat from Finflucra, Mark from One Big Picture, again, he's got 3 kids. He's quite local to me, so we meet up, we go for coffee, we always have to do it within the kids' pick-up times, etc. And we're talking about life. We're not just talking about business and I've got so many weddings this year and I'm making this or I'm trying to do this with my website. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just life and how we navigate our way through that, being self-employed. I cannot tell you enough how passionate I am about having that community network of businesses, and it got me out of a place where a year after having my wee girl and I wasn't going back to work and I was in a real sort of downward spiral about, God, where do I go from here? Am I supposed to be at home with my kid? It's really lonely, and as much as it's so lovely to be able to do it, it's a lonely place. So I genuinely can't recommend it enough. In terms of just mental health support and just feeling like you're not alone. It is amazing, and that's just in general life, and especially obviously we're all in the Scottish wedding industry, and we can talk about, this happened to me at a wedding, and they'll post it in the Facebook group and somebody will say, that happened to me too, and this is how we did it, and this is it. Or my tax returns, gods,
yes. Or good time here for that.
I'm trying to post this on social media and I'm not sure how to do it, or so many things, so many topics of conversation we come across, be it business or not. It's so valuable. I can't tell you.
You mentioned about having your kid and feeling lonely and not sure what to do there. Even for people who are like solo photographers or solo florists working on their own, like in previous episodes we've talked about it, like sort of with Ashley Baxter. She sort of really struggled with being a solo founder and having nobody to bounce off of.
Absolutely.
Like having that community to just sort of let you know you're not the only one doing this sort of thing.
Of course. And as I said earlier, there's people who are in every different stages of life and walks of life, and being on your own is it's hard. And there's a lot of people, I have to mention there's people in Braw Brides who have come from, or there's some who are still working a day job and they have their business in the time that they're not working their day job. There's people who have walked away from full-time employment to pursue their business. Oh my God, like those people are, to me, like gods. Like, to be brave enough to walk away from full-time employment and go out on your own and focus on your own business, that is amazing. Like, I did it, but I was forced to because I was going off for maternity leave anyway. But I could never think to be brave enough to do that. And to have somebody else maybe in that network who's done the same thing is amazing, because it's such a brave move. And there's people who have always known what they wanted to do and have always run their own self-employed business. And there's people who, like Jo, you know, she was doing a lot on her own. Now she's got Liam, and that's lovely to see them working together. And, you know, there's just so many different variations of it that it's great to watch.
Yeah, that was Joe Johnson, just for the people listening.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah, so like I said, not just, it's for anyone who runs a business. I think not just mental health, which is obviously it's super important, and it's Kids Mental Health Week or month or time of the year, just so people know, because obviously mental health, not just for adults, kids go through stresses too. But like, community big on the mental health, but also can help you navigate the troubles of having a business just by yourself if you're ill. Like, I think we spoke to Lisa Devlin last week, and she mentioned how much she really wished she worked with someone, and that duos are kind of like really fortunate.
Yeah.
And it's true. But if you're a single shooter by yourself, you know, you really can't be ill at a wedding.
No.
But obviously there's going to be times where you are, so that community that you've hopefully built up can help your business kind of flourish in those times of horrible desperation and need.
And I know you guys there's groups of photographers and there's groups of filmmakers that have all that sort of almost infrastructure, isn't it, that you've kind of built, that you can pass on referrals, or if something untoward happens, like you're ill, you can make that call out to people to help you. And to me, that's just, it's priceless, isn't it?
Oh,
and it's
100%.
so easy to do. It's so easy to do online, and it's so easy to join, to be part of it. But at the same time, there are people who get so lost in just trying to, you know, the hustle almost, just trying to get the money in, get through the day, you know, keep their business going, that at one point they're going to find themselves, you know, alone. And that's not a good place to be when you get so busy that you can't value that time with meeting other people, and it's really important. And
it also has the negative effect. Like Ashley, for a while, she lost the inspiration to do any photography work.
Yeah.
And this was after leaving the wedding industry. She just lost that passion. Like, obviously, if we were to lose passion for video, that would not be good. Not just for us, but for the clients that have, you know, booked us for, you know, the whole of this year. You know, it's like, I don't want to be going to a wedding, I'll just do it for the money. That's not where you want to be.
No. But also, if you lose your passion for something, that's okay. It's okay to go on that, to get to a place where maybe you need to change it up or go down a different route. Yeah. And you shouldn't just keep plugging on.
No.
You know,
but that's where community can absolutely help. You know, talking to people about, you know, these struggles and how other people listen to how other people got through it, and totally invaluable.
Yeah. And I think, like we were mentioning, face to face, talking to each other face to face can, you know, like you get such a better vibe from someone if you're there with them, and you can tell, if they have lost their passion, then you can say to them, look, I think you have lost your passion, like maybe you should go and do something else, and that's okay. And sometimes these conversations could come up with another opportunity that maybe you didn't even consider before.
Yeah. As you say, there's lots of Facebook groups out there that people can join, and if you're not in one, there will be one in your network somewhere. Just speak to another photographer, speak to another florist, and there'll be one that you just don't know of.
Yeah.
But it's all good and well being part of those groups. But as you say, getting out there and meeting up together, like what you do once a month, that is so valuable. Like, we've had so many friendships with people in the wedding industry that you thought, oh, they're friends, we got on well with them, but then you meet them in person, you're like, holy crap, they are awesome. Like they're definitely
yeah.
It's just a different level of sort of friendship.
So if you're sitting listening to this podcast and you're thinking, I don't really have a community, they're saying I should probably get one, how should they go about trying to find a community?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's a case of, so I'm very much, as I get older and wiser, I'm very much learning to, that lesson of surround yourself with like-minded people. And it sounds a sort of, that's that cliche, or you're the sum of the 5 people you spend most of your time with.
Yep.
But they're very true. And I think if you find one person that you relate to, then you should cling on to them. Mm-hmm. In terms of, and chase them, by the way, chase them. See Kat from Finn Flucra, she literally stopped me, and she won't mind me saying this because she'll admit it herself. Because I can be a bit scatty. She's emailing me for weeks. Can we meet up? And I'm like, just, doing other things. And I regret that now because it took us a few months to meet up, and she pursued me. And now we're like great friends. So I would definitely find someone that you relate to. In terms of like actual practical moves, is contact people, reach out, email me. I might not get back to you for a week or 2, but I will get back to you. I'm really passionate about Scottish wedding businesses. I'm really passionate about helping people navigate their way through it, and reach out, because unfortunately I can't contact everyone. I can't, but I would love to if I could. I would love to.
I suppose we're really lucky because Glasgow does have a really healthy community of creative people.
Yeah, like here in Scotland, there's a lot of groups, and as you say, like it's not the stereotype of Scotland, but everybody is so friendly.
Yes.
And I should say not just Glasgow, because there's connections throughout Scotland.
Absolutely.
To be honest, even between Edinburgh and Glasgow, rivalry. We're still friends with them.
There absolutely is, and obviously I would love to widen the net of Braw Brides, and logistically it doesn't work for me just now with my family and that getting that elusive balance that doesn't exist, but at one point I would love to have someone heading up Braw Brides in the Aberdeen area, and running it up there, and running workshops there, and running workshops in the Highlands, and that would be amazing. But there's so many sort of logistics to get in there, and I am not one to rush. And I think for a while I was like, oh my God, I need to get here by then, and I need to get here by then. And you see, when you accept that you don't, it's amazing, and you just let it grow organically. And at the end of the day, a wedding blog, there's no other way to grow it but organically. You can't suddenly have 30,000 Instagram followers. It just doesn't work like that. You have to grow it, and you have to be patient. And I'm now accepting that, which is nice.
I suppose social media has kind of got this idea in our heads that to be really good, or to be known as being really good at your job, you need to have those big numbers, and you always need to aspire to get all that, but sometimes that's just not important.
It's not, no.
And if you're constantly reaching for this goal for your business, then oftentimes the joy of the now in business can be lost, I find. In just life in general, I find always aiming towards something, but sometimes missing what's happening in front of me. I quite often feel that way. So obviously we're lucky in Scotland. Good community.
Yeah, there's people we know in France, and in that country, apparently they don't like to share their knowledge and give things to each other. It's like, what? But it's changing from what we've heard.
And even you're totally right about Scotland. I mean, it's that thing of like, if you get on the train in Scotland, someone would give you your seat, like people chat away to you. So my husband works in London, and see, going in the tube in London, that is a terrifying prospect. Nobody talks to you. They don't even look at you. They're like, it's a different world. So I think there is certainly, we've already got that mentality behind us to help each other out, which is awesome. We're really lucky that way.
Definitely go out there, find some people who are doing similar work to you, and don't treat them as a rival.
No.
Treat them as a connection that you can take advantage of. But in a nice way. Like, help each other.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Be friendly.
And it is overwhelming because, I mean, look at Scottish wedding photography for an example. I mean, so many talented photographers, and
it is ridiculous how many good photographers are in this country.
You know,
it is unreal.
It is amazing. And to look at it as a sort of photographer starting out, it can be, oh my God, how can I ever infiltrate this industry?
Yeah.
But, you know, the majority of them are so, you know, friendly and ready to share their knowledge with you and, you know, help you to get where you want to be.
Yes.
So nice.
People will share referrals as well, like, because you can't shoot every wedding.
Exactly.
So there's groups where people say, look, this couple are looking for a photographer. Are you available? And I'll pass your name on. And that's great.
We strongly suggest that you don't stay behind your screens and just stay on social media. Social media can trick you with the fact that it's called social media. However, face-to-face relationships, real connections with real people actually is going to benefit you, not just Instagram followers and communicating via text.
Cannot
and stuff.
preach that more. Ridiculous.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you very much for coming
Thank you
on
for
the
having
episode
me.
on this very, very busy day.
I know, 2 meetings, do you know what I mean?
You've got 45 minutes to get to where you're going.
Totally
Is that enough time?
Yeah, more than enough. I can eat one of these cannolis before I go.
You can.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Well,
On social medias.
predominantly, yes, on the blog, brawbrides.com. Instagram, Facebook are my main uses. I just don't really go near Twitter, and I don't know why. I just
We're
find it.
not on Twitter.
That's fine, yeah.
I just find it.
And is
a
that
bit-
at Braw Brides? No dashes, hyphens?
It's
or
all
anything?
at Braw Brides. Pinterest as well. So easy. All my social handles are Braw Brides, which is awesome because I don't need to put in like 4 or 5 different ones.
Yeah.
Gail loves that when she's designing my business card, you know. One handle.
Yeah.
Nice and neat for branding. So Braw
Yes.
Brides, anywhere.
And people can find us at Cinemate Films.
Yep. Instagram, Facebook, cinematefilms.co.uk. If you want more information on the podcast, cinematefilms.co.uk/podcast.
That's right. Time for our review shout out. Greg's not even prepared. Digging it out of his pocket. Shocking, Greg. Every time. I wasn't prepared last week. You got me off guard.
New ones. All right. Let's go for a review from someone that we all know here.
Oh.
So the title is Best Wedding Industry Podcast.
Oofed.
I didn't say that. It was Joe and Liam that said that.
Oh, so sweet.
They said, Liam and I love listening to your podcast. It's accompanied us on many long drives to weddings. You've had some fantastic guests, and each episode...
Just because I've been a guest.
Yeah, true. And each episode has had funny moments, educational bits, the lot. We look forward to these each week, so don't stop. From the other side of the podcast, you're great hosts, made us feel completely at ease, and we really enjoyed it. You guys are awesome, Joe and Liam.
Oh,
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much, Joe and Liam.
That's so
That
nice.
means so
We
much to
already
us.
loved you, but we love you even more.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, hit that subscribe button so you know when the next episode goes online. Please leave a review just to help us grow the podcast, or if you don't want to do that, just tell a friend. However,
Until next time.
enjoy your life.